So another excuse, people are using is to say, "Oh, kids are behind. We need to go back in school buildings." And no, kids were behind before the pandemic, right? If kids are on a third, fourth grade level in sixth, seventh grade. Kids are on a fifth, sixth grade level in the ninth, 10th grade. And I'm just talking about math and I'm sure it's the same for every other subject. Certain kids are 3 or 4 grade levels below. And it's a fact. I've seen IEPs, and even certain general ed students. So they've been behind, and the social promotion is killing that, So this goes back to standardized testing, right? If you're gonna pass these kids regardless, why stress the teachers on standardized testing? Why observe them, which leads to proficiency in their eyes, which leads to proficiency on the state exam? Why observe and stress teachers out if you're gonna pass these kids anyway? And now kids are not taking this test seriously because some of them know, oh, I failed in playing time before and I got promoted, so I'm not going to take it serious. So is it because these kids can't perform, or just because they're not taking it serious? And that's the whole thing, and which makes standardized testing pointless. It really makes it pointless, and that's what they're measuring our students on, which labels them, oh, that they're behind. But are they really behind? Because they're not really taking the state exam seriously, right? And because of that, they think it's pointless. So I feel like moving forward, let's get to some end of the year performance tasks, group projects, portfolios. Let's do that and make it more meaningful, right? The only reason why we need to go back in school is because the standardized testing is coming up because it's near the end of the year, so they need kids back in the building. If I promise you, if standardized testing was not a thing, there will be no rush to go back in the school building. I promise you, there will be no rush to go back in the school building. But because there needs to be an agenda for the reason to go back in the school building. So this is why, all these excuses are being thrown out there. Kids aren't learning, we got to go back in the building. Certain things like that. Very false. Very, very false. Kids are behind, right? No, kids were already behind before we started the pandemic. It's just now that, parents are seeing everything the child is doing and what level they're really at. That's why it's a big shock. But it's always been that way. It's always been that way, and any teacher can tell you. So don't believe the hype, man. For any non-educators following me, kids always been behind, and we've been going through school. We've been managing. We've been getting it done. Kids always been behind before the pandemic, and teachers been getting it done. So, and there's nothing that we can do to control that. We don't decide who gets promoted or not. So we can't control that. We just do the best we can with what we got on a daily basis. So it's not a state of emergency because kids are behind. Kids already been behind. Teachers do what they can every day and meet students where they're at. That's what we've always been doing. That's what we're going to continue to do. All right. So for those who've been reading the news and everything, don't believe that. Don't believe that nonsense. These kids will be fine. These kids will be fine. Okay. We've been doing this for years. We've been working with kids that have been behind for years. Differentiation, meeting them where they're at, all types of stuff. You see teachers on Zoom dancing and trying to get kids engaged. We doing the best we can. Trust us. Trust us to get the job done. I hope this video finds you well. Comment your thoughts below.